one, you can always build a couple of reports and combine them via Excel itself. But the system itself can only handle one of those relationships at a time. You do have a bit more functionality with Excel, but when you're building your ad hoc report, you do only have access to the one-to-many relationship. And you'll also notice that in the builder itself, the dropdown does only allow for one selection, so you can only select one. And again, as we discussed in that session, for those that attended, in a case like this, you do want to always start on the model that has the most data that you want to report out on. And then that way you can sort of avoid using one-to-many in multiple places. Short answer, it is not possible. Long answer is there are some ways around it using some other tools.
And I think Mike Wang also wants to chime in here.
Yeah, and this flows a little bit into question number 2. How do you know when to use Excel versus ad hoc? So in the case you might need to pull multiple one-to-many relationships, the Excel add-in is probably a more robust tool to help you with that. Essentially, you'd be able to use aggregations to basically pull linked tabs to these different fields. So you can start on the grant request model. And if your example is that you want to pull payments, which is a one-to-many relationship, and then you also want to pull reports, another one-to-many relationship, you're able to do so within the Excel add-in. And another reason why the Excel add-in is probably a more useful tool for you is if you do want to turn this data and all these data points into actual visualizations like charts and graphs. And that's kind of something you do in Excel over ad hoc.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. I think we did kind of jump into question 2. And again, just want to repeat that question for anybody that might have missed. It's how do I know whether I should use an Excel or an ad hoc report? I think Ryan also wants to jump in on this question as well. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about which one to use, everything Michael brought up is really great, great points. Ad hoc definitely is more for the case where you do have a report, maybe you just need it for one meeting, or some people are great at Excel, others of us are not as great. Always great to use the ad hoc report builder then, because it's a tool that exists inside the system. You don't have to be in Excel to be using it, and you have access to all of your fields right there. The other part about ad hoc reporting is that it does have the ability to grab all of the fields from your Flux system. As we discussed in the session at Ignite, again, for those that were there, the Excel add-in does not have the ability to pull in what are called method fields. And these are things like calculations or times when the system is combining information together. So something like full name is a combination of first name and last name. The Excel add-in cannot pull that in because that is a method that's being conducted by the system to put that together. Ad hoc reports, however, can pull it in because it is within the system. So you have access to every single field. And it is quicker, no need for Excel. But again, as Michael was saying, if you do want these more complex reports, you do want to include payments and reports and reviews all for your grants. Or you do want to put together visualizations and things like that that can populate, you'll want to use the Excel add-in.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. And again, before we move on to our third question here, do enter your questions in the Q&A or the chat on your Zoom app. Just as you think of them, go ahead. You don't have to wait till anything's done. So as you think of them, go ahead and enter your questions. But let's go to question number 3. I do see we have one in the Q&A queue right now, and we'll get to that. But before that, let's go to our third question here, which is, do all users need to have Excel add-in enabled to generate and or view the Excel reports? And I think Mike Wang wants to jump here.
Yeah, so with the Excel add-in, it's mainly to maintain that template that you actually upload to the Flux system to create the report. On the Flux side, when you want to generate and view these reports, it's more of a user rights application. So in short, the answer is no. You don't have to have the Excel add-in enabled to generate or view these Excel reports.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Okay, so let's start to get into the queue here, and I see them rolling in. That's great. Thank you, guys. First question, Nick Cederland asks, is it possible to run reports on declined or withdrawn proposals? And I think Ryan had an answer for you there.
Yeah, so you can do that. You can, in the filter option on your ad hoc report, you'll notice that the filter does show all of the basic filter options. So one of the things that there is the option to include rejected requests. So if you do have rejections and they are in those rejected states, you can select that checkbox, and then the report will pull in anything that is declined or withdrawn, basically anything that has been rejected. So that's how you're going to want to do that. From your filter, it will be there in the filter options.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. So moving on to the next question from our mysterious anonymous viewer. Where can I learn reporting basics? And I think Katina could chime in here for you.
Yeah, that's one of those things without more detail in the question. Generally speaking, I would point you to the knowledge base that can be found at flux.zendesk.com. There you will find basics on ad hoc reporting, Excel reporting, even our new reporting dashboard, which is really cool if you guys haven't had a chance to check that out yet. You can also look through the slides from the Ignite conference that's posted in the community. There will be more content being posted each week based on the sessions that were happening, so you can check those out if those were sessions you hadn't been able to attend. But those would be really great starting points for figuring out the reports and how to run those and how to pull the fields in.
Great, Katina. Yeah, that's a great point. Again, I do want to re-emphasize that we have a lot of slides for all the slides from our breakout sessions on our community site. So go ahead and check that out. Let's stick with our mysterious anonymous viewer here. And the next question that we're going to go ahead and answer is, how can I automate reports after I set the correct criteria? And I think Ryan here has a great answer for you.
Yep. So on reporting, whether it is Excel or ad hoc, if you take a look at the card, at the very, depending on if you're an Avant, I believe, it will be a clock icon at the bottom. If you click that, you are able to schedule your reports out. So if they're a report you need every week, you can pick the day of the week and the time in which it'll generate. The system will automatically generate your report, and all you have to do is grab it from that card. You can also do that with your Excel reports, and the options are pretty wide. You can do it daily, you can do it weekly, once a month. So basically, anytime you have a report you're going to use a lot, you can go ahead and set that up through the report scheduler to automate those running.
Awesome, Ryan. Thanks for pointing out the report scheduler there. So our next question here is from Allison Green. If you wanted to generate a report that brings together all activities, tasks, payments, reports, etc., coming for a program officer, what's the best way to do that? And I think Mike Wang, our client services guru, has an answer for you here.
Yeah, so in the case with something where you're trying to pull multiple fields pull from multiple data models, the Excel add-in would probably be best for this. One thing to keep in mind is that you always want to, at least on the theme, choose the base model where most of that data is coming from, right? So this report is stemming off an actual maybe request or a grant that you already have, and you want to look at the connected information from the grant, then you would start your Excel template base model on the grant request model, and then from there you can create link tabs to payments, create link tabs to reports, and then when you pull all that information together, you can then create a new sheet and then bring all that data into a single point.
Awesome. And I think the big takeaway there is make sure you know where most of the data is coming from. Let's use that as the base. So next question, again from Nick. What are the different types of reports possible in Flux, and what are the differences? For example, ad hoc reports versus Excel report. And I think that kind of goes in line with our second question from earlier, but I think Ryan here has more info for you. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yep. So again, we did do a session at Ignite that was an overview of all your reporting options in Flux. So that's a really great resource to grab that. But basically, what we have, we range from the basic use of a dashboard. So you can create dashboards with filters to report out on your data. Those are all real-time options. There are live reports that you can run. Some of those open as cards, others are Excel files, and those are all reports that exist on every system. They can't be edited, but they have been crafted with various client use cases in mind. You also can do ad hoc reports, which can be done as an Excel report, a pivot table that exports to Excel, a CSV, and then you can also do PDFs based on the letters in your system. There's the Excel add-in, which is, again, as Michael was saying, a much more complex tool. It uses all of Excel's functionality, so you have some of the basics of the ad hoc report builder, but more flexibility with Excel. And then we also have our API, which you can use if you have API developer resources on hand to use the API for reporting needs. And then again, for a fee, we do also allow for secondary database that can connect to outside reporting tools. Again, you would want to contact your CSM about the fee for that. But there are a lot of different reporting types available. One thing I think people forget is that dashboards can be used for reporting. Really great because they are real time. You can share them out to people and lock them down so that they can't be editing the filters. Super quick and useful. So it all depends on your needs. We have the ability for dashboards, exporting items, all of that.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. And again, I do want to emphasize that these slides do exist in the community site, so go ahead and check that. Let's go to our next question here from Kenneth. Are there any plans to improve the ad hoc reporting tool in terms of ease of use, grabbing data from multiple models down, etc.? This sounds like a product question. Let's go to our product panel member here, Katina.
That's a really great question, Kenneth. At this time, there's no set plans in place for making those improvements that you're mentioning. I definitely would encourage you to chat about that with your CSM or with the support team. But one of the things, again, that I do want to call your attention to where we have made a really big improvement for all of you is that reports dashboard. Again, if you haven't seen that, there's an article about it on the knowledge base. From there, we really have made it easy for you to choose which file type your output is. If you want to have a CSV file, an Excel table, a pivot table, a template, or a PDF like Ryan was talking about earlier. There's also a way to separate your reports and categorize them based on model types. And you can even add a report that you're running as a favorite. And by adding that as a favorite, you can see that directly from your dashboard and have that available for your use anytime that you want to use it without having to dig through or search for the reports.
Awesome. Thank you, Katina. Okay, so it looks like we had a couple questions about the runtime filter from Dave Walker and from Kenneth. Let's throw it over to Ryan to kind of address those.
So at this time, kind of to answer Kenneth's question first, we don't have any plans right now to add more options to that. The basics of the runtime filter is that it is based upon the card's basic filter. And so there are some items that are usable in a runtime filter, so something like status or program. That could be something that we can definitely enter as possible enhancement going forward. But the key to the runtime filter is always to remember those are based on and can really only be applied from the basic filter of the model type that you're creating your report from. So example there, if I'm building a requests report, I'm only going to have the basic filter for my requests available to me there.
Got it. Thanks, Ryan, for answering those couple runtime filter questions. And Dave, if you had, further context on what you wanted to learn about, I know we kind of addressed Kenny's mostly. Go ahead and ask that. But we'll get to your next question here. What other outputs are available besides Excel? Can we push these to graphs, bubbles, bubble charts, etc.? Let's go ahead and throw it to Katina for this one.
That's another great question. Obviously, within Excel, you can use the power of Excel to turn your data into pie charts and graphs and bubble graphs and anything that your heart desires from within there. But Flux does offer the functionality on your dashboard to filter cards based on specific criteria and to put the output of those cards into bubble graphs. So there will be a session that will be posted later in the community called Flux 101 User Basics to get you up and running. And in there, that session actually walks you through all the different views that you can have an output of. You can have the map view, a summary view, you can have bubble charts, you can have graphs, bar graphs, and those sorts of things. I really encourage you each week to check the community site for new sessions that are being posted, because some of this information is contained across different sessions. But yes, you can use those on your dashboards within Flux to use your dashboards as a reporting tool.
Great, thanks, Katina. Now, as for Barb's question that came in here, did you say that the new reports card is now available? I'm going to give you 5 points for paying close attention. We're actually not 100% sure yet. We're going to go ahead and table that and answer it offline unless Katina has an answer for you here from the product side.
I think I'm the one who was causing the confusion because I was talking about the reports dashboard. So the reports dashboard is now available. If you go to the knowledge base and you search for reports dashboard, you can find the instructions of how to enable that, how to open it up, and how to use it. But there is one caveat to that for those of you who are not using Avant yet. A, I really wish you would. That would be a great thing to do. But B, the reports dashboard is only available once you're on the Avant dashboard. So if you're not seeing it, that could be part of the reason why.
Awesome. Thank you, Katina, for clarifying that. Do we have any other questions before we kind of wrap up today? We have about 8 minutes left in this Ask a Fluxxpert session. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and throw that in the Q&A section. All right, it looks like that is all for now. I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. But again, if you have any questions, throw them in there. But again, we're going to, thanks for, attending this session. This is the second one that we've done. And I'd like to say that this one has gone even better than yesterday. A lot of questions came in, and I hope you guys are seeing the value in this. And so again, thank you for attending. Thanks for answering great questions. Thanks for sending me questions ahead of time. That gave us time to kind of prep for you. But of course, we'll continue to post more content and schedule more webinars. I don't know if I introduced myself at the beginning, but my name is Kevin, and I do run the webinar team here. So keep an eye on the training calendar for more sessions like this, for more of our regularly scheduled training webinars, and as well as our release notes webinars that we kind of kicked off this week as well. But of course, to learn more and to access any video recordings of any of the future Q&A sessions or of the ones that we've done in the past, just go ahead and visit our knowledge base at our brand new knowledge base, I want to add, at flux.zendesk.com. There you'll be able to find a list of upcoming webinars, links to register for future webinars or for future Q&A sessions such as this, and recordings of our past webinars under training webinars. Also, definitely want to do another shameless plug for our community site. Just to make sure that you check that often, because again, we do have the slides from the Ignite breakout sessions there, all written by your Fluxxperts, and we're also going to have our schedule for the future Q&A sessions on there as well. Also on the community site, we have a suggestion box, which would, so if you guys wanted to suggest any future content or any other things that we didn't cover in any of our webinars or Q&A sessions, let us know. That's the place to do it so we could create that content. But of course, is there anything else that we didn't get to, or if you think of questions after the session, go ahead, let us know at support, and we'll be happy to help. So again, thanks again, everybody. Kenneth, I saw the little thank you there. Thank you, Kenneth. We appreciate you. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today, and hope to see you guys at our next Q&A session. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.